Hey guys, Chris here. Welcome back to the Ultimate Recycler. Back in February, 9 months ago, I filmed this video that you're about to see. So it's one I've dragged up from the depths of my computer. In fact, I even filmed it on my old phone. I didn't have my new microphone set up. A lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, including floods in Australia. However, it was a guessing game. It was some treasures I got through the shop, and you'll notice it's my old shop before we had to get out, and it was before my shoulder reconstruction. So anyway, I had some stuff come in on the e-waste. I'll explain it shortly, so watch this video, and it's a guessing game at the end to see if you can earn yourself some stickers, and I will do a follow-up video to it very shortly. So hope you enjoy this, and good luck with your guesses. Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. I'm in the shop at the moment, and this video is going to be about some stuff that a guy brought into the shop, and we might have a bit of a guessing game out of it. And basically, we've not only saved it from going into landfill, but we should make some collector very happy, and I will do very well out of it. So let me just fill you in. The other day I was here, I wasn't actually open, I was out the back, and a guy rang me. His name is Peter. He said, "We're moving house, I'm cleaning out my shed, I've got to get rid of a bit of junk." He's an older bloke. And I said, "Yeah, sure, look, I'm here at the moment, come into town and I'll unlock the door." So I met him out the front, and he gave me a few boxes of stuff, and I said, "Now, what did you want for it?" And he said, "Don't want anything, just didn't want to throw it out. So you're welcome to it." And I had a bit of a glance, and there was a couple of Coke bottles, I'll show you in a minute, and a few other things. And down the bottom of one of the boxes was quite a nice little treasure. And I did ask him again if I said, "I'm happy to pay. I don't want charity. I'm not a charity shop. I'm a dealer, and I'm quite happy to pay for good stuff." He said, "No, look, I don't want anything. I'll be just pleased if you can take it." So I said, "Okay, all right, sounds good." So I priced the stuff out. Now I'll show you what sort of stuff I got in that first lot. These couple of Coke bottles. This one's in fluid ounces. It's probably late 60s. And this one's actually in the changeover period. It's got 1 litre, and it's also got 35 fluid ounces. So that's probably early 70s when they were changing over to metric in Australia. So I've put $15 each on those. There was a Schweppes lemonade bottle, which I just put $5 on. It's got a really good label. It's 1980s or so. I mean, only I can remember drinking out of those. And we used to just throw them to recycling. Actually, the shops might have given us 20-cent refund. Oh, there you go. Look, return bottle for refund. And I do know people from my childhood days that used to grab them from the backs of shops and then take them around to the front and cash them in, and had quite a lucrative little income stream. Anyway, he dropped those bottles in, not much there, but let me show you the good thing. And in this little cabinet here, there's a really nice, probably 1960s, late 60s, perhaps early 70s, it is metric as well, mobile handy oil tin. Now these little tins are very collectible. It's in excellent condition. It's actually still full. And I said, look, they're worth quite a bit. And I did check eBay, and some of them actually cleared $100. I put 95 on this one in the shop here. But, you know, he was just happy to give it to me. And then he rings me the next day. Hang on, I'll flip the phone around. So he rings me the next day, and he says, "I've got some old grease cans, you know, tins full of grease." I think he said his father was a mechanic or had a workshop. So I'm thinking, well, they could be pretty old, because, you know, this guy was in his 70s, I think. He said, "Do you want them, or will I throw them out?" I said, "Well, no, look, bring them in for sure. I may even have a use for the grease if it's in good condition," thinking they might not be that old. But the cans themselves are very collectible depending on the brand. So, yeah, he said, "No worries, I'll bring them in tomorrow morning." So I met him out the front, and he had, actually his wife brought them in. And he had a couple of boxes there, and I had one quick look at them, and I'll show you them in a tick. And I said, I would really like to give you some money for this stuff, because these are quite collectible. And she said, "No." She said, we are just happy that they're not going in the bin, and we're pleased that they'll end up with someone that appreciates them if you can sell them. And it got to the point where it was awkward if I offered again. So I had to leave it sit. Let's go out the back, and I'll show you the cans. Okay, I'm out the back here next to my little workshop behind the shop, and it's a bit windy, so hopefully you don't get too much wind noise. have a look at these old beauties. Now there's some really nice old grease cans here. Most of them, well, there was actually quite a lot of oil in the box. Most of them still have contents. They feel like they're fairly full. There's a couple of more modern ones. So there's some wheel bearing grease there and a large Enna grease BP. It's in kilograms and that feels near full. I might actually take that home, so I've got some good grease at home. But these other ones are very collectible. So I'm not sure if I mentioned at the start of this video, I'm going to make this a two-part video. This first part, it'll be fairly quick. This first part is basically the lead up to what happened and showing you now what I got. So there's some Atlantic wheel bearing lubricant, some Gargoyle Vacuum Oil Company. It doesn't actually say, but that's a grease of some sort. And I'm going to clean these up and we're going to have a bit of a competition. Are you guys ready? I haven't done a comp for a while for one of the Ultimate Recycler stickers. And I gave some away in a competition a while back. So I'm going to offer a sticker for the top 2 guesses. And what you're going to have to guess is what this lot, and I think all of these, are going to make on eBay. So I will be cleaning them up first. I'm going to get rid of the grease out of them because I don't know if we can actually post anything through Australia Post that's actually, well, it's a petroleum based product. They've probably got guidelines against that. Besides, I don't think the collectors actually want the grease. They just want the cans. I don't think that one's necessarily worth eBaying. It's in grams. We'll put that aside. So what you see here, I'll clean them up and I'll show you what they're like before I actually list them, because they should wash up nicely. The beauty about grease is that as messy as it is, it actually stops the cans from rusting. So we have 2 Vacuum Oil Company ones. Very nice looking tins. We have a Castrol East motor grease. Oh, there's 2 of those. I'll be listing them separately. We have 2 Atlantic wheel bearing lubricants. And we have an R&T, which is Ramsey and Tregau. I don't know how to say that. I'm sure you guys all know. I have a feeling they were connected with Golden Fleece. And I'm not sure what's happened there, whether there was a sticker on there and it's come off. What's the other side like? Oh, it's the back. But I think that will be, it's a Melbourne company. I think that will be eBayable. So before I finish this part of the video up, I will wash them up and show you what they look like. And I will clean the grease out. I will put all the grease into a tin and I will dispose of it properly. I think you can take it to the transfer station. I know they will take used sump oil. I think they'll take grease. And I'll show you them all cleaned up before we finish this part. And then you guys, in the comments, can leave your guesses on what the lot, we have 7 cans, will make on eBay. And the final figure will have allowed for eBay fees. I'll be subtracting, say, 15% for eBay fees. And the postage, or I won't include the postage. It'll just be what the auction finishes at, less 15%. What do you think the total is going to be? I'll show you them cleaned up before we finalise here. Not quite cleaned up yet, but I have got all the grease out of them. It's been quite a warm day, and while the sun was on the bench here, it softened the grease quite a bit, and I just used a steel ruler and put it all into a bucket. So we'll take that out to the transfer station to go with the waste oil. I'll now wash these up in petrol just to have them nice and clean, and I'll show you them as I'm listing. And here's the beautiful little grease can collection, all washed up. They cleaned up really nicely. I didn't notice at first, but these are actually different. That one says motor grease in black and that one says it in white. The R&T tin cleaned up really nicely, and the remains of the sticker came off there quite well. So I just washed them in petrol, and both the Gargoyle ones there are pretty good. That one's got the type of grease written there faintly. I can't see anything on that one, but a little bit of staining still. As I said, I didn't go to too much trouble, just washed them in petrol, and all I've done is just wipe them over with just some beeswax, just to stop them rusting, because the petrol does leave them very dry. So there you go, guys. What a great little group of original collectible grease cans. Certainly not reproductions, these ones. So have your guesses. Let's have a bit of fun and let's see who can guess what they're going to make on eBay. I'm going to list them individually. I'll list them all on the same day, maybe half an hour apart. And in part 2 of this video, I'll film the finishes, so we'll see, you know, if there's some late sniping and what the prices get to. I'll start them all maybe about $30 each. I think they're worth more than that. Of course, the buyer has to pay postage as well. But I won't actually list them until after I've had this video up for about a week. And we'll give people a week to guess. Otherwise, you guys are going to go off and search eBay completed items and find out what they sold for. So if you're watching this on the day it's put out, I'm probably going to list them in about a week's time. And then part 2, I'll show you the end of the auctions. We'll announce the winners. I'll send out a couple of Ultimate Recycler stickers to the winners. And yeah, should be a bit of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you then. Bye for now.